Hey everyone, thank you again so much for joining. You have joined the Elevate Your Kitchen Design Business with AI. Obviously, a very hot topic that we are thrilled to talk about. Today's session is a round table, so we're going to do things maybe a little different than normal than some of our webinars, but I hope that you enjoy it because we are going to ask for a little bit of participation a little bit later in the session. But we're really, really glad that you guys are here. Lots of people are still coming in. And I'm thrilled to introduce the presenters today. And like I mentioned, it's a roundtable, so some of the presentation is going to be very structured, and we are excited to share some things with you, but some of it's going to be a little bit more conversational. So one of the experts that we brought in is Christian DeBook. He is our Vice President of Customer Engagement here at Syncly. And really, really exciting because he's going to be presenting a lot of concepts that he's had the chance to share with many of our key accounts across the globe. He was recently at a show in France and got to talk to quite a few customers and get their initial feedback. So now we're excited to now bring this back here to North America and start asking some questions too. If you'd like to connect with Chris, you'll see that QR code under his picture. That goes right to his LinkedIn. And if we haven't met, my name is Vanessa DeKukuk. I am the product manager of Design Live, and I'm really excited to be here today and talk through a lot of these things. But I'm most excited to introduce Crystal Bright. If you have not met Crystal, she uses 2020 Design Live software, like many of you. But we're going to ask her a lot of questions from her point of view as an interior designer that is doing a lot of visualization in her projects, how she's leveraging AI, or maybe the hopes and dreams that she sees of where she wants to really excel and take her business next. So Crystal, did you want to say hi and kind of just really, really quick talk about anything that you are using like every day when it comes to AI tools?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for having me. Um, I have enriched my journey as a designer using AI, and I use ChatGPT a lot for so many different features. But as you said, I specialize in 3D renderings, which kind of had me really focused in this tech space. So I'm really excited to have this roundtable with you guys so I can talk about all the different tools that I use and kind of see how you guys kind of conglomerate all the things that I use into one simple tool.
I love it. I love it. Let's simplify some things. That would be amazing. I hope you guys have had the chance to meet Crystal. She's actually been on some of our previous webinars too. If you missed those, they are on our website, on our YouTube channel, on our training platform. But back to the show. Today, we're going to talk a lot about what we're looking forward to with AI as we're looking at Syncly products. And I'm going to pass it over to Christian to tell us a little bit of the story about what we're working on.
Thanks, Anissa. Thanks a lot. Yes, well, as you can imagine, AI have been around a lot of discussion these days. A lot of companies are looking at AI. There's a lot of things concern, issues, or opportunities. Of course, at Syncly, we're seeing AI as being an opportunity really for our industry to bring much more value into the home improvement project than what we're doing today. And of course, no, we as a company have been developing software for so many years. No, we are in this industry for so many years. We understand what you're going through. We also trying the best we can to put the functionality needed in our software so you can have again a better life doing your day-to-day job. And of course, no, we're also looking in much more details how AI can help you in your day-to-day job. So if you want to move to the next slide, Vanessa. So our approach to AI, of course, we've been in that industry for so many years. We're focusing on our verticals, and by vertical, we mean interior design. We have no plan to get outside of the interior design. We're not doing airplanes or whatever, really focusing on interior design. That means everything inside the house, including also outside the house, but in the, again, context of residential and commercial. So of course, office furniture is also part of it, but of course, K&B, so kitchen and bath, is really one of our main focus for so many years. We're also looking at AI as an opportunity, just go back. An opportunity to, again, to enhance and enrich our existing solution. And of of course, we're also making sure that we use AI the right way. Next slide. By using AI the right way, what we mean is, of course, we have a responsibility as a company. We understand that, again, AI, there's a lot of discussion around AI. Around the world, companies are looking at also not only trends, but at advice how to use AI. And we do the same thing also at Syncly. So first thing is we have put in place a code of conduct, how we should use AI, so how we can communicate also AI to our own colleagues and also our customers all around the world. So that include on our side, having a better knowledge of AI. So better knowledge means, we have put in place training for our own employees so they can really understand how to use AI, not only in the context of software development, but also in the context of a day-to-day job, how as individual we should use AI. Finally, maybe one of the most important thing is everything related to security. As you know, AI means a lot, tons of data that we need to kind of educate our AI models. So that means data coming from you, data coming from manufacturers. So we want to make sure that this data is used in the right way and that we're not sharing confidential information, outside of what we need. Next slide, please. So how do we do it today? So of course, it's based on our customer priorities. We're not doing it just for the sake of doing, pure research. Of course, we have R&D department, but we're really looking at using AI based on what our customers are telling us. So our customer priorities. What I mean by that is there's a few things, looking at many years ago and what we're doing today and what we want to do in the future, we have identified a few things that customer have told us that this is something that we really need to enhance on our side. And of course, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is first to increase the speed of engagement. So how can you better qualify customer even before meeting them? And that means also that at some point, we want to decrease the design time, so the time that you spend doing repetitive work, and also reducing the sales cycle. So at the end of the day, is really to add much more quality to the design process. Next slide, please. It's not a secret. We know that in fact it's much more than 60% of consumer that begin their buying journey online. And again, this is not something new. If you look 50 years ago, customer were doing kind of the same thing. So instead of using the internet, they were using a printed catalog. So using a catalog, you were doing your research, and then you were going in store and then starting discussion with the salesperson. The big difference today is, with the internet is time. So really the time between what you're looking at online and when you go in store, again, the time is really, really short. So of course you need to have, the response. So customers are expecting to have much more, in less time than they used to be in the past. That goes back also to a concept that was put in place by Procter and Gamble in the 2005. That was called the first moment of truth. At that time, they came with an idea that the first moment of truth is when you walk in store, you're in front of a shelf, you're looking at two different competitive products. This period of 3 to 7 seconds where marketers can influence you to buy this product instead of this product. So this time is the time that the marketer will really use to convert a browser to a buyer. That's nice, but a few years after, with the internet, Google came back with another concept called the zero moment of truth. So the moment of truth that happened before walking in store. So that's that moment where a customer goes online, they're looking at reviews, they're sharing with customer. So as an example, I want to buy a new TV. So I will learn about the TV that I want to buy. So when I walk in store, I'll know much more than the salesperson about that TV. So you get a lot of data before actually getting in store and meeting someone. And this is really what we're looking to enhance right now. So what can you put in the end of your own customer and at the end also of the designer, really to help in that qualification phase, this dream phase where a customer is dreaming about something, but before meeting someone, at least he had all the tools available really to get into this inspiration phase. Next slide, please. So it's really how can you put these different tools to the end of the consumer so they can convert their dream into an actual project that first they can buy and also that can be installed. So that's really how do you engage the customer. There's different way, of course, of engaging a customer depending, again, if you working in a retail store as a manufacturer or you're a designer, you're on your own. There's different way again to do this engagement phase, but there's tools that you can put in the end of your customer to help them really understand what's going on. Next slide. That's also really interesting when we talk about, of course, online to in person and also web to store. So there was a lot of discussion in the past years about, well, everything will happen online. That's not true. We know it's not true. A lot of things will happen online, but we know that most customers, if not all customers, still need to deal with, of course, a professional. You need a specialist. At some point, you need to understand what's going on, of course, what you're buying, and you need a professional to tell you that, yeah, this makes sense, or I would go that route, or I would propose different things. So this transition from online to in person means that the collaboration that need to happen between the consumer and the professional need to happen earlier in the process, not only when you walk in store or you meet someone in the showroom. No, it needs to happen way before. So that's for us also really important, this concept of collaboration between the different players when it comes to create a interior design project. So this collaboration approach, again, should happen during the sales process, should happen during the inspiration phase, and should happen after the sales is done. Of course, there's still work to be done. Project need to be installed. There's a lot of things that need to happen. So you want to make sure that, again, this collaboration happen online, happen in store, and what I call in transit. So you need to enrich the data or the project during that whole process. You don't want to recreate or start from scratch every time that you're moving from one pole to the other. Big frustration that we saw from many consumer is you have tools online, you can again get inspired, get an ideas, then you walk in store, you meet a specialist, then specialist of the designer start from scratch. This is frustrating for a customer. That doesn't mean that you need to reuse everything that customer have done, but customer have made decision about things that he like and he don't like. Of course, you should be able to reuse that and continue your project, meaning that you should be able to take something that has been done, a design that has been done in an online tool, be able to reuse it in your professional design tool, so in Design Life. So that's why we're also investing a lot with this interoperability. Interoperability, that's a tough one concept. So being able to exchange a project between the online tool and the professional design tool. Next slide, please. So what does it mean for us? And what does it mean for you? So at Syncly, of course, we have kind of separated our pillars into 5 different pillars. So the inspiration phase, the design phase, the sell phase, and of course, manufacturing phase and install phase. And we have identified already some initiative within these different pillars here. And the 3 that we want to discuss today is things that we have done for the inspiration phase. So again, things inspired by reality, making sure that what we're doing here will make sense for you. Also for the design phase, a lot of time is spent in the design process itself. So we want to make sure that we can provide the tool and the intelligent tool that could be used again to enhance and enrich your design. And finally, the sell phase, where of course, doing a great design is good. But what is better is the ability to sell the project. So what again can you put in place so it can help you sell more? And of course, we're looking at AI to help us, doing some of these things. Today, we have some of these features or functionality available in our software. We're looking at enriching these capabilities with AI. And of course, we're looking at adding new capabilities using AI. One thing about AI also, the funny thing is, of course, a lot of people are discussing around AI. When you listen to Hollywood movie maker, AI is either, a T-100 robot from Terminator that will conquer the world in 2 years, or it's a little bit like Jarvis in Iron Man. I prefer Jarvis in Iron Man, of course. But the the funny thing is, I think this is how we should see AI. AI is not just here to replace. AI is here to help us do these repetitive tasks, and it helps us be more productive. And of course, help us also, bring new ideas, things that we have maybe never thought before, since there's so many data available. So AI will definitely help us, being more productive. So we have identified today 6 of these initiatives that I would like to share with you, and of course, get your feedback. The first 2 ones are related to this inspiration phase. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is a room capture features. Again, nothing new. There's a lot of room capture utility out there. If you go to the Apple Store or Google Play Store, you'll see a lot of features, a lot of apps where you can do room capture. Of course, most of them are on Apple because of this LiDAR technology with the new iPhones. So what we're doing is we're in fact doing a room capture utility using your iPhone, where you can just by, again, moving your phone around, will automatically capture the room, the walls, the dimension, the openings, and that will be your starting point, again, for your design. But in fact, we're doing much more than that. So taking the dimension and the room layout is a great thing, but what if you could also identify the product that exists in that room? So automatically recognize the different obstacle that can automatically be removed, and that will be your starting point to do your design. Of course, room capture today, we understand that it's not the precision that you need to do a final design, but that's good enough to do this inspiration phase. So that's good enough at least to have the basic data needed to do different design, different proposal. So that's the first thing that we're working on. That's for us, this is one of the key priority that we're looking to have ready in 2024. And that's, again, a platform development, meaning being available for all of our products. So the ability, again, to scan, to recognize the product, the objects, and then generate automatically the design layout needed for your professional design tool.
That's so exciting. Before we go to the next Inspire topic, Chris, I want to ask Crystal a little bit, because I've seen this in use today in a few different areas, like you said, because so much of our technology, like our phones and tablets, have this capability built in. Now more and more apps are leveraging it. Crystal, have you used this before? Have you seen it? Would you use it?
I utilize this as a part of a way for my clients to give me their measurements, but we have them scan that with the Canvas app, and then we have to capture the measurements by measuring around the room, and then we model it. So having 2 of those steps kind of taken care of like immediately saves us a whole day, seriously, a whole day.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, going back to saving a lot of the time so we can actually focus on the things maybe that we enjoy doing or that we make a little more money doing.
Yeah, or move
But
on to the next project quicker,
yeah,
which I love.
yeah. And
Yeah,
thanks for like pointing out that you said the client may be able to capture something and then you're still going and like validating the size. We've got to make sure, especially for kitchens, accuracy is key before we even think about ordering anything.
sure. Sure. And as the technology evolve also, we were convinced that, again, in the near future, the precision of the different technology like LiDAR will be good enough, again, to be able to do much more than what we could do today.
Exciting. Very exciting. Okay, the next topic to inspire our clients.
Yeah, the next thing is, again, related to this inspiration phase. So things that you can put in the end of the consumer so you can get inspired. It's the ability to do auto design. This is something that, by the way, we do today, auto design in our different online tools, so consumer tool. But what we're looking, it's much more than just the ability to do a 2D or 3D design. It's based on a picture, so a photo that a consumer can give you, analyze this picture, analyze this photo, then automatically remove the product that we can identify. So that becomes an empty room. And then start proposing different, in the case of a kitchen, different kitchen layout to a consumer. So we're not dealing about 2D or 3D. For many consumer, again, this is something that they might not understand. So it's much easier just proposing and adding products, objects in that picture that they recognize because this is their room. So again, a new way of inspiring a customer. Again, this is not a final design. It's just a way to inspire a customer. So in the case of a kitchen, show me an L-shaped kitchen, a U-shaped kitchen, an I-shaped kitchen in my room, so at least I can have a better understanding of the space, how it might look like. And then also, why don't we play with finishes, with options, so things that, again, consumer can really use to create their own style, their own ambience. So we're looking at, again, using that as a technology, so based on the photo and also based on the prompt. So instead of using your keyboard, why not using your microphone? Say, okay, design me a L-shaped kitchen with this white shaker door. Why not? So different way to interact with a computer, different way for a consumer to get inspired, quickly. So again, to reduce this qualification phase. I love this
That's
one.
kind of it is exciting. It's also intimidating at first when you look at it because I think like, do you know how many years I went to design school? You're gonna just auto design. But yes, for inspiration, it's exciting to
Exactly.
think like, can I quickly get to other ideas, other concepts, other things? Thinking about the whole voice, being able to like just prompt something with your voice saying, I want this outcome. I noticed when I opened ChatGPT the last time on my phone, it now has like a voice prompt that's like right in your face. So easy to use. They make it really, really seamless. All right, Crystal, what do you think? Like, do you think we're going to get to this point where we can just auto design based on a photo? Would you use this?
I love this idea, and I've toyed around with a lot of AI programs because there's this site called There's an AI for that. So every time there's a new like interior design one, I always try it out. And they have kind of this concept where you can upload a photo and put in a prompt, but then the outcome is always so like old school or kind of janky and off. And so I'm really excited because I know it just with this AI, it only takes just a little bit more months of tweaking and perfecting for them to have it down. So I get the intimidating part too, but it's really exciting for me as I'm like surfing the leading edge because I feel like people will always trust people more. So as long as I can like harness this and everybody, take the chance to harness AI and write it and be on the part of this where we have the foundation knowledge. So everything else that they build on top of it, we kind of have an understanding. So like this, I think we should kind of embrace because now I'm using AI art as inspo, but of course it's not using their actual room. It's whatever is dreamed up. So I like this so much better.
I love it. I love it. I think of like some of the scenarios, or if I think of a lot of like photo examples I've seen a lot of people share, I tried myself. I think on one of our intro slides, we all had headshots. And I'm going to be the first to admit that's not really me, that's AI me. And it was created by uploading a collection of real photos, but then it like magically made a whole new AI version. And that is 1 second later on my LinkedIn profile.
Same. I'm the same on my LinkedIn and on this slide. You have two AI photos.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, a little interesting, a little scary. I'm gonna make one more comment just because I feel like this is super relevant. I just heard this on a podcast and I was very blown away thinking about like it getting better and obviously it being fed more data. There's also a lot of interesting conversation going on right now in different tools, whether it's chat GTP, which is more of a language model that you're typing in things or you're using your voice, in that you can ask it to be smarter, you can ask it to be better, or you can even prompt it to say, I would like you to fill in the blank, and I'm going to give you $100 tip if you do it really well. And they're saying the results are better than if you didn't tip it. Now, obviously, it's like we're not actually giving it money. But by like encouraging it and saying you can do better and saying you're going to tip it, they're getting better results anyway. It's kind of funny, but kind of fun to follow.
That's an interesting thing you say, because it's one of the big benefit of AI. See, of course, AI can learn. So the more and more that you're feeding your AI model with good data, with new data, with good data, the better it will come. It will become. So that's one of the great benefit of using artificial intelligence, really.
I
Love
agree.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so speaking of data, this is where we're going to make it a little bit of a bigger round table. Before we go on to the next sections of concepts that we're going to be working on with AI, we want to know kind of where you're at, what you think. So on those first two examples, I'm going to pop something up real quick on the screen here. Let me present this. And do me a favor, if you happen to have your phone nearby, you can actually scan this QR code, and it's going to take you out to a site called Menti, and you can type in this code right in that Menti view. Or if you're just on your computer, you can just go right out to menti.com. And this is just a way I really, really, really appreciate if you contribute to this, because we're going to take some of these results and share it with our AI team, just so that they can see, your vote. Do you think that, bringing in photos, do you think like having this auto design feature, these types of things, we're going to try to give them a scale of like 1 to 10. How do they feel? So I'm waiting. I see this little number in the corner. About 26 people have joined our Menti view. I'll give it just a second, see if anybody else joins. So you can either just use your camera and scan that QR code or go right out to menti.com. And then I'm going to jump over to this just next view. You can still join, just go out to menti.com and the code is at the top. But if you're on Menti right now, you can go in and you can rate from 1 to 10. Do you feel like the capturing a room using your phone or tablet is really going to change your business, will be helpful? Rate it like a 10, super high. If you're like, meh, not impressed, rate it low. If you think auto designing based off of photo or text prompts will help, give us an idea. Okay, room capturing is definitely trending a little higher, but it's
Excited. Like,
interesting.
I had a feeling it would kind of go this way.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. This is very interesting. Okay, you guys just not trusting auto design yet? You're not ready to let loose?
I always hear people
Uh,
talk about how it can make designers obsolete. So I know everybody's, some designers are just like, no.
I'm sorry, but who's gonna replace that dinged up door when it comes in, in a bad delivery? Oh, goodness.
But
Good.
maybe one thing I can add about auto design, again, the
Yeah.
goal is not to replace the design process, the design work that a designer is doing, not at all. Again, it's for this inspiration phase. So before meeting someone, a professional is again tools just to inspire consumer. That's it. That's really what we're focusing on.
Yeah. And imagine too, and maybe Crystal, you can like elaborate on this, the number of products out there today
Yeah.
that you can specify. Like, yeah, sometimes just that alone can be overwhelming, especially for like a new designer coming to the industry, and the complexity of, especially kitchen and bath, but it's
Yeah.
a lot of
Like you
parts.
have to have that bank of knowledge in your brain, you would think, but now this kind of helps designers kind of start off with a lot of help.
Love that. Love it. All right, let's talk about a couple more ideas. So we talked about inspire, but now let's go into inspire and design.
Thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, this next one was really something, a request coming from our customer, our user. So how can you help us generate better high quality rendering? We know today it's doing a nice rendering. It's a complex process. It can take a lot of time. Why? Because we know that nice rendering means that, of course, you have to play with the ambience, lighting a lot, viewpoints also. Good rendering have to do with all these things. So we're looking at ways to automatically generate these high quality rendering, not only based on things that you will do with your mouse, so placing the lights, placing the viewpoint, but kind of automate this process. So could be based on just a picture. So you're having a picture of a kitchen that you like. You don't care about the kitchen layout. What we will use is the lighting ambience of that photo the viewpoints for that photo, so two vanishing point perspective as an example, and then it will automatically generate a bunch of different renderings with the nice settings, with the right settings, meaning that you won't have to go through all the settings. It's just a nice way, one click, to generate a high quality rendering.
Crystal, you're smiling already. How do you feel?
Well, it's so exciting to think of because, we can spend a day getting everything to look just right. And the idea that the idea that you could take a picture with moody lighting and just implement that. That's so exciting to me as a 3D artist because I know there are so many people who want to deliver that kind of rendering. And that can take it from being just a rough plan to having your client see their kitchen in a way they've never seen it before, like, and be excited. So I love that you can help just like anybody kind of get there for their clients.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And Chris, you had kind of mentioned earlier, we're definitely appreciative of these 3D spaces because the client obviously can understand that much better than a floor plan, an elevation, the technical documents. I will never, ever forget one of the biggest projects I worked on as a designer. And we had a full, spec book that we had printed out all of our 2020 drawings. And there were a handful of things that I spent an obnoxious amount of time rendering in color, printing in color, putting it in this beautiful binder. And the homeowner saw it and flipped the page. And I was like,
I
can
know.
you just do me a favor and just like look at it for like one more second, please? Like you have no idea how long it took me to do that. Now this is quite some time ago when rendering was really challenging. So it is night and day to think of how far rendering has come, and you guys, it's just gonna get better. Love it.
Sure.
Yeah, the revision request is a lot less heartbreaking if this is the process, to be honest.
I feel like that could be a Crystal quote. I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So one more topic on Inspire in Design. What are we going to think about with auto decoration, Chris?
Yeah, this is really, at the during the again the design process. So your design is almost done. Again, how can you automatically add all these decorative items just to dress up, the design to make it more alive, but not only put decorative items for just rendering purpose, but also add products that could be sold also. Meaning that again, these products can come from. Remember at the early stage of that presentation, I was talking about the ability to recognize objects, product in a picture. So that means not only recognize it to remove these objects, but that means that if there's a light fixtures, at some point, if I know what is this light fixture, I can recognize it, meaning that, okay, this is a light fixture coming from manufacturer ABC. Then I know I have these in my catalogs. Then I can place this product in my design, and also I know there's a price associated with that product. Meaning that yes, at the end of the day, I can dress up my design, make it more alive with these nice decorative items. But also these products would be used to do upselling, to do cross-selling. So a different way, a different approach, again, to really dress up your design, but also to be able to sell much more than just the design itself. So again, auto decorate based on again different styles, based on things that you have liked. If you have liked in the earlier phase of the design process when you were dealing with a customer, and again, ability to automatically dress this design with these decorative items.
With real items. I love that. I love
Yes.
that. I think there's probably a lot of very experienced designers on this call today that are all going to be like, well, auto deco, remember that? Yeah, it got you so far. It did so much. But Crystal, how is this going to impact your business? Do you see this helping?
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, especially with a kitchen design, trying to capture that upsell or those extra bits of the design is a little bit like more challenging, and sometimes things that you don't have the time or the withstand to tackle. So the fact that we can just upsell and have it be a part of it already kind of it helps with so much because it can be interactive as well. The client knows right there as they see it what items they can actually have, and that's we model everything. So if we have something that we think looks good in the design, we model it in 3D, put it in the rendering, and then render it. So like having them just snatch it somehow, like I don't get this all the way yet, but I'm excited about it.
And I think I've seen a couple tools that are kind of doing this, and I think this is one that's going to get better and better and better over time, like we said with some of the others. The first scenario I saw, I was like, no, not quite. But yeah, I think if we can give it some guidance and if it's going to have that commercial data or that real
Mhm.
product information, that's the game changer. Love it. Love it. Okay, back to the feedback time. If you still have your phone or if you go back out to menti.com, give us some feedback. How do you feel about these two? How important do they rate in your business? Thinking about generating high quality renderings, can some of that be preset? Do I have to do as much work as I do today? Is rendering super important? And how do you feel about auto decoration? Not just for the pretty picture, but also for the upsell and the content that's married to it. Love it. I'm not surprised by these results either, but it's looking
Me
really
neither.
strong. Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
I'm
for
seeing a
trend.
theme. They want all these things. They're all rating really high.
Yeah, they're excited. I'm excited too hearing about, especially the upsell point, like conversions all day. We love that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, super. This feedback looks great. So one more
Great.
kind of category, if you would. We're going to get to the sell portion or validating a design, a little bit closer to the end of the design process. Christian, how is AI going to help us here?
Yeah, the thing here, what we're looking at is today when we look at the process, at the end of the design phase, of course, you create an order is sent to whoever. At some point, it get to manufacturing, and then manufacturing can say, whoop, 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 no, no, this product cannot be manufactured, or this option is not available anymore. Then it's coming back, and then you have to redo again, restart again. So what we're looking at here is really to take this validation phase that now happen at the end of the process, trying to put it earlier in the process. So as you design, as you do your different specification in your design, so how can we automatically trigger some of these things that need to happen at the manufacturing side and put it during your design phase. So being informed earlier in the process that things might not be available, and it can go as far also as design rules, of course. And I know that now I may receive some rocks here, but like, or some bricks, but you know, rules of good design. What do we mean by good design? Again, it's based on data that you can feed. The different AI model. So what is a good, what is a bad design? As an example, I don't know, I do a design, and then for some specific reason, I end up having too many fillers in my design. I know that, of course, I can remove maybe 95% of these fillers by just playing a little bit with the different cabinet size. So might be an example. So design rules, security rules, we know that depending on the region, depending on the country, there's a lot of different rules. So how can we also use AI to make sure that these rules are respected first, and that the designers is also informed that some of these rules are broken. So really, design validation first, everything that is sent to manufacturing that happened before, and also design rules that could be used to create better design.
Yeah, I mean, we all know there's plenty of rules and guidelines and codes. All those things are out there. But thinking about it from the manufacturing perspective, if I could make a better decision with the guidance of something that maybe that cabinet can't open because it's a corner cabinet and I put it up against a range and it's deeper, or that handle, there could be a thousand scenarios. Think of all the things where you're like, oh, after it was installed, you're like, I probably would have done that differently. Could we
Mhm.
somehow validate that earlier? It'd be super interesting.
I
Crystal,
agree.
thinking about, yeah, like, have you ever made a mistake in a design? Could
Oh my
this help?
But I'm even thinking about the times that I'm looking at apartments or looking at flips, and I'm just like, if they just had something automate, just something a little bit smarter, like
Mm.
especially when I'm seeing flips or people trying to do quick repairs on apartment buildings, and I'm like, man, if they just knew that that drawer wouldn't open without opening that door because of the handle being so long, like things like that. I'm like, okay, this would be really great to have. And I know that 2020 kind of does that already when you use it, but having them, especially when it comes to the part where they just come and scan the room and come up with kind of a rough design, that makes sense. That's enough to kind of get them on the right start. So this validation part, I'm just like, for flippers, they need it. We need it for sure, but definitely when I see the mistakes out there, I'm like, this could be easily avoided now.
Oh, look at how many different people are in our industry, like you said, whether they're a flipper or they're new to this industry, or there's so much, in the DIY area. My immediate thought when I look at this slide is the Instagram page, please hate these things. If you've never looked at it, it literally is just like design disasters left and right. But some of them are just crazy and some are just pure, like they didn't know what they were doing. Could we help them? That'd be really, I can't wait for this. That'll be great.
The answer is yes.
Okay, one more topic when it comes to selling.
Yeah, the last one for today, it's again coming from feedback and requests from our users. It's everything related to customer presentation. So at the end of the process, of course, there's a lot of time that is spent just putting in place and creating all these renderings, images, floor plans, elevation views, all the legal documents, item lists, whatever. And also, so how can we automatically generate that? Some of you know that we have already worked on something called a presentation packet. I don't remember exactly the name. It's a step further. So of course, also based on everything that was discussed before. So like renderings, so the renderings that were automatically generated based on style, ambience that you like. And it's also go as far as creating the sales pitch, meaning that depending on the designer, depending on the salesperson in store, selling the exact same project with different person, you'll have a different sales pitch. So how can you help by the creation of that sales pitch based on first the personality of the seller and based also on what you have captured from the customer during this design phase, so during the sales process. So really something tailored to the customer that you're dealing with.
Well, this is super exciting. Like anything to help with that very consistent presentation obviously is huge. But incorporating the sales pitch, like I think back to my alma mater when I went to design school, they actually got feedback from the community that were hiring interns or hiring new designers out of school. And they were like, you need to stop putting them in a sales class that teaches basic sales. They need to learn how to sell as a designer. And I thought that was super, super interesting just because it was like just such a different way or a different spin to it. But it really, really helped like the graduates coming out to feel more confident because I don't know how many designers know how to sell day one. If we could kind of help them get a little bit further with that. I feel like Crystal, you hit on this a lot when you spoke at our VIP event, like how much marketing and automating your marketing like has changed your business. But what does your presentation packet look like, or how do you present to a customer? Is this something that you see AI impacting?
I have so much fun with my presentations because I use ChatGPT a lot with my design process too. So that whole thread is full of my thought processes with that design. So at the end, when we're doing the presentation, like I had a client who had like a House of Versace kind of feel, but she loved this architectural digest. So I made the presentation read like she was reading an architectural digest about her home, like a spread about it. And I love that personal touch because it made it so that she couldn't say no to anything. Like almost, you know what I mean? She just was so in love and she felt so enthralled in this world that she just didn't want to say it. She couldn't, you know what I mean? Like it made it so easy to make that that choice. So I think that it's smart and necessary to personalize all of your presentations. I know that we have templates on Canva, but even going on ChatGPT and using copy that's really specific to this design and your process and what you felt and thought while you were doing it, you can just put it all in the ChatGPT and it can kind of help spit it out. And obviously you guys have a system for it too, where you can help spit out your real thoughts and feelings in a smart, flowing way with your presentation.
Yeah, I love it because this is definitely one of those areas that's like a time suck, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we all want to make a really cool presentation, but today we're piecing together all these things from so many places. Like, could this be easier? Oh, I love it. I just love it. Okay, one more chance for feedback, everybody. If you're still on menti.com, how do you feel about these two? How important are they? Thinking about design validation, having some guidance throughout the design process. Is this something that you, your company, your workflow would benefit from? And then thinking about the presentation, how is there a consistent standard across your company? Or are you like knocking out of the park like Crystal and setting yourself so far apart from any competition by making it like such a targeted message to that client? I love that example, Crystal. Super fun. Um, how important is the customer presentation? I'm actually really shocked right now, you guys, that customer presentation is ranking higher, more important than design validation, just by a little bit, but very interesting. Very interesting.
We want
Good,
it to be
good.
right, but we want it to be pretty.
It's gotta look real good, real good. I love it. Okay, one last ranking, and this one's gonna maybe take a second longer, but if you're still on Menti, you can now rank all 6 of the things that we presented. If you were able to come to me and say, Vanessa, if I could have design validation, I don't know, I have to pick one of these. If I could have one of these things, would you want to render high quality images? Is that the first thing we should work on? Is the better smart marketing package presentation the first thing we should work on? You're going to rank these in order from 1 to 6. Now, obviously, I feel like they all rated really high individually, so they're all important. But if you were to help us kind of focus, where should we go next? Because there's going to be a lot of development as we look ahead towards all of these AI tools that are going to help many of our softwares across Syncly. But HQ just hit the
Wow.
top. They want to
Wow.
render just like you, Crystal. That's what I see.
And this is so important, you guys. It's so important.
So
Wow.
for
I
me,
love it.
I,
HQ render is not a surprise. Honestly, so
yeah,
far, the different discussions I had, this one I've always ranked as the first one. It's not a surprise.
yeah.
I voted too. So this is actually very close to my vote as well.
Love that, love that. And the room capture from a phone or tablet, that's pretty exciting too, just because it's
Yes.
Yeah.
like, let's just make that kind of first step a little easier so we can start getting to the design, just kind of seeing what that looks like. You guys, this is great. There's still some answers coming in, so I'm just going to give it a minute. We do have just a couple points to conclude with, but I really appreciate this feedback. That, like I said, this is super helpful. Okay, so Chris, what are we doing with AI? How are we at Syncly approaching this?
Yeah, well, again, as you can imagine, I've already started investing a lot in AI. So if you could just click Vanessa. So again, the first thing where we are today, it's we have created a dedicated team of engineers. And again, these are people that we have hired coming from really an AI background, so being in the AI field for a few years. And again, their goal is really to create the architecture or the infrastructure that will be used by all our different products so we can better use and leverage again AI. So next slide, please. So we're developing this architecture. And again, what this team is doing is it's not doing something just for the sake of doing, pure research. No. Again, focus on our industry, what we're doing, interior design, making sure that, again, the money that we invest, as Vanessa is saying, there's a lot of money that we invest in there. And because we see so many opportunities really, and that will really help what we're doing with our products today. Next slide, please. So again, in our space, focusing on interior design, again, as I said, we have no intention of doing anything else than interior design for residential and commercial. And next slide. Finally, some of these initiatives that were just presented, we are working on right now. So we have kind of separated these initiatives in 2 different categories. And by the way, we have much more than just 6 initiatives. We just wanted to illustrate these 6 today. So some of them are what we call, quick wins. So low-hanging fruit, things that we know that we can develop quickly and can be available for you guys pretty quickly. The second one are more, what we call lighthouse projects. So long-term projects, we have no idea, 6 months, a year, 2 years. We know that major development will be needed, and also we know that a lot of data will be needed again to educate our AI models. As I was just giving the example of image recognition, so product object that we can recognize in the picture. So of course you need a lot of data for that. So a lot of picture, you need to be able to identify these different products. So at some point, the AI model can understand what you need to identify and then can learn by itself. The third category is, again, long-term project. We have, again, no idea first how it could be done. We have identified these ideas as being something important. We know that technology will still evolve. We know we're just looking at ChatGPT 2.0 and now ChatGPT 4.0. The difference between these 2 versions is just enormous. It's unbelievable. The speed that again this model have evolved in the past year. So things that we have identified that we know that maybe the technology is not there yet, but that might be something available in a few months or a few years from now. Then we'll be able really to identify how we would do it. Last slide. So where we are today, 2 things that, again, as I told you, we have now an AI Innovation Center. So these engineers that are working really focusing on how to better use AI within our own products. We also have an initiative internally at Syncly called Innovation at Syncly. That's something that we have put in place just to, again, encourage we have roughly 2,400 employees worldwide, and there's a lot of ideas that could come from these employees. So we are welcoming every quarters ideas coming from our own employees. Then there's a jury judging the ideas, and then the winner get a prize. And of course, the first prize will have the chance to have his project analyzed by product and R&D team, and that might become something in the future that will be part of our product. So we take really, the AI opportunity as something really important, not only for our business, but for your business also, making sure that you can benefit from all the different things that we're doing using AI within our products and solutions.
That is so exciting, Christian. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. A lot to think about, a lot that is ahead of us. Before we part today, we just have a couple minutes left, but I do want to share one, thank you for spending the time with us. And Crystal, I'd love you to tell them a little bit about some of the programs that you offer.
So I have a virtual interior design kind of masterclass program where I also have smaller classes, and one is focused specifically on AI, and we're developing it further because you can, just like Christian said, it's changing so fast. Even the things I'm collecting from this conversation are going to contribute to it. So I'm excited about sharing how to be responsible and build your business and streamline things using AI. And so if you want to learn more from me, we have that course, and Rory put it in the chat that we're going to collect your information, send you straight to it so you can get some more information. And we have also a promo for people who are coming from this webinar.
Perfect. I know we covered a lot. We talked about a lot of things. I really appreciate everybody's time. We did record today's session. So next week, we'll make sure to send a link out to you.
Also, sorry, there are a few questions. We did promise a quick Q&A.
Sure.
Are you all ready for that?
I'm ready.
Of course.
Awesome. Okay. So first question came through, and they're wondering where the information is going to be sourced from to feed the AI. Can that be discussed yet? Or?
For Syncly to source like all the data they use?
Yeah, for any of our AI concepts. Is this flushed out.
Sorry, I missed the question.
Like where will the information be sourced from to feed into our AI projects? Is it going to come from our platforms or external information sources?
Good question. Well, coming from two things, what we call enterprise data, what we call community data. So as I said earlier, some of them, of course, are confidential data coming from retailer, manufacturer, or even a designer. So of course, we need to use that to again educate and feed our AI model. But also, as a company, simply we already have a lot of data. We've been in the industry for the past 35 years. We have a lot of data that we can use. That's what we call, being the community data. So we first use this data to kind of educate our models, and then based on that, of course, the models can learn by themselves, and then will automatically enrich the different proposal that would be done in the future. So a good question.
Sorry. The auto design will be based on photos. Is it going to work on iPhones, but also Androids?
Yes, auto design is not device dependent. Auto design is it's based on two things. First, it's based on what we're doing today, so it's rule based. So it's rules that says that when you place this product, automatically this product is placed beside it. But it's more than that. Now, using AI, we can do much more. So AI can learn from that rule-based system and then can generate automatically by itself, can generate new auto design. So it's based on what we call our Flex platform. So we do have a platform that we're creating that will be used by many of our applications. And then the auto design, the AI auto design will be part of that platform, and many products will benefit from that AI model. So it's not device dependent.
Okay. This question's for Crystal. How are you using ChatGPT for your designing visual designs?
Well, ChatGPT now has a feature where it can generate art. So even as I'm working through a project, I can input the questionnaire in the client's room and kind of say, well, what kind of visualizations would you come up with just based off of this? So it makes it kind of quick. And also you can use Midjourney. I use Midjourney a lot for really intense inspirations, especially for commercial projects.
So there's a few questions for Crystal. First off, somebody wants to know where you're based out of.
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And then the course that you teach is going to be teach your users how to use stable diffusion based technology.
I don't believe that we're using stable diffusion based technology specifically, but maybe it's because I don't know what that exactly means.
Sorry, I'm just filtering through all the questions here.
You need to find a question for Vanessa.
Yes, actually, I do have a question. So it's a little off topic from AI design, but somebody says that they're currently working with 2020 design. They noticed that designers using 2020 Fusion, the rendering is a little bit better. They want to know why this is the case. If they, yeah.
So the beauty and the challenge of Syncly is all of our different products. They do have different rendering engines today. That is not the end goal. You'll see continuous changes and developments of our rendering engines so that we have the best tools available to everybody. So today there is a great rendering engine in 2020 Design Live, but you'll see some improvements in the future.
Sorry, they're just coming in quickly and it's moving around. So will the room scan option be able to scan a blueprint as well?
I haven't seen that yet, but Christian, have you seen anything where an app could scan a blueprint?
No, well, I don't know any app that can do that, but definitely what we're looking at making available is really just to do room capture using your iPhone. So capturing
Yeah,
an actual room. So
the
it is not.
spaces. Yeah.
Yes,
Crystal,
yes,
today, do you
it's a
use
good
any
idea.
techniques if you have floor plans or you're given a physical floor plan?
I have played around with because you can input information into ChatGPT. I have played around with uploading a floor plan, especially with a tight space, and being like, how can I best utilize this space? And it will give me kind of some examples. It's not very good at showing me its example yet, but it does give
Yeah.
me some really good advice. And it will read measurements. It'll take a PDF and observe it and then be like, okay, well, these 3 rooms are this much square feet. It's done that for me before and helped me create quotes really quickly.
Hey, you can have the math, ChatGPT. I love that.
Um, is so Christian, in that kind of timeline that you spoke about, where would the auto design function kind of lay? Is that Lighthouse or?
Well, right now it's kind of it's I would say in multiple phases because auto design is something that we've been working on for many years already. As I said, as a rule-based engine, now we're adding AI on top of it. So it's at this point it's difficult to say. It's definitely not a quick win. What I mean is it's not a short-term development because again, not maybe because of the technology, but more because of the data needed to again to feed the AI models. There's tons of data that will be needed to, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the design proposal, so that, as an example, the kitchen layout proposed by the AI model makes sense. It's just creating, again, a kitchen layout is something easy. Creating a good design layout is a little bit more complicated. This is where you need a lot of good data. So I would say it's not short-term development, that's for sure.
Okay. Um, Crystal, if somebody has never used AI right now, where would be a good place to start?
My course is for beginners, and I think that a good place to start is ChatGPT just because it's the most developed and put together. And right now there's a free version, ChatGPT 3, and it doesn't do as much. You can't upload images, it won't give you art back, but you can even just ask questions about your business. I've always told my friends, like, just ask it really frank questions about your business. The ChatGPT 4 can look up internet, so I can be like, use market research and let me know, or look at my website. It could look at your website and let you know what you could do differently. Things like that. Just check yourself. Maybe it could be your first step of diving into what it'll help you with. I think that the first step is, yeah, check in with your business before you start using it for design, just to see if you can feel good and comfortable about something that you really feel comfortable talking about. You know what I mean? You can see how helpful it is right away.
Um, so what are the plans for protecting, so any AI generated designs, what are the plans for kind of protecting people's work after the fact?
Protecting your AI generated art.
Yeah. So I guess this could be for Christian as well. Like what are our plans for protecting, say somebody uses an AI generated design, how is that going to be protected after the fact so nobody else can use it, I guess?
Well, I don't see the difference between having a design generated by AI and a design generated by a professional designer, the manual way. I don't think it changed anything. The difference is the AI will help you generate more, maybe more proposal that you wouldn't normally be able to do. But from legally speaking, or from a confidentiality standpoint of view, AI won't make any difference compared to what a designer will do today. Because again, as I said, there's two things important also. It's, when I talk about enterprise data and community data is something that can be shared everywhere. So of course, when you have a model that generate like these auto design, if it's coming from the community data of course, this is something that can be shared with anyone. Something specific, if I take an example of, let's say, a retailer, let's say, that would create, again, they have their own design templates or rules for auto design, and then we learn their AI, we educate our AI model for this specific customer. Of course, what will be created is something specific for this customer. So yes, this is kind of confidential data, but again, after the design is created, it's like today, you can generate a design, create a design, put it on Facebook, and all of a sudden, your design will be used by different user everywhere in the world. So AI won't change anything to this aspect.
Yep. Would 2020 consider developing AI more towards installation packets?
It's on our list. Yeah, we haven't, as I told you, we have a bunch of initiatives that we have identified. We've just presented 6 of them today, but we do have other, as you see, when I was presenting this little wheel with these 5 different pillars, of course, there was manufacture and also install. So of course, we do have also some initiative for these 2 other pillars. Yes.
And then, Crystal, besides ChatGPT, is there any other AI tools that you use or recommend? AI tools or apps?
Midjourney is the only one that I use every other day as well. Midjourney, I use it strongly for inspiration. I had it help me make my vision board for next year.
Yeah, there's a lot, by the way, a lot of engine that exists out there. Some of them, will appear and disappear in 2 weeks. Some of them have been there now for a long time. So, Crystal was saying ChatGPT, Midjourney. There's DALL-E that you can use even for music. You can use them. There's RoomGPT. Yeah. So there's a bunch of them that you can experiment. And the good thing is many of them are free for trial. So yeah, I would encourage you to look at them because again, there's so many interesting that can be done with AI today.
I wanted to add also, I go to there'sanaIforthat.com because just like you said, they can be there and then disappear 2 weeks later. So when I think about ones that I would really recommend, that's why I go to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT also incorporates so many of the other ones. And now they have a way you can build your own chat engine. So it's so specific to what your goals are. So now I have one specific for selling and things like that. And so yeah, when I go to ChatGPT and Midjourney, ChatGPT now incorporates DALL-E in their 4. So yeah, those are the 2 that I would always say. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I'm going to add one more comment to that just because I've seen a lot of people starting to try this, but Canva has a lot of AI built in too. So like magic tools to erase things, to change colors of things. So like if you've already got a design and you're just like, I want to tweak it, but I don't want to redraw it. Basics, but a great place to start where you don't have to feel too intimidated. It's super simple.
Totally.
Okay, I think so. There's a couple more, but they're kind of just geared towards 2020 design. So I don't know if we want to answer that. Or...
Yeah, I think it'll be easiest, Rory, if you send me those questions and we can follow up after the session just because they're a little more technical. We can definitely go from there. You guys, I really appreciate your time. A lot of you stuck it out. We went a little bit over, but that was really great. And Crystal, we always love chatting with you and seeing like what are you actually using versus like some of the things that we're always dreaming up, like what is actually happening out there. So we really, really appreciate your time and all your feedback.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I've had a really great time talking about this. I love talking about this, so the fact that I get a chance to finally talk about it with people who care, I love.
It is fantastic. And thanks, Christian. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.